In today's episode, we'll address why you should avoid micromanaging your people if you expect to build a winning team. Specifically, you'll learn that trust should be given, not earned, that your job as the owner is to create a productive work environment, and that you will motivate your high performers by simply getting out of their way. Let's get into it.
Welcome to Why Business Teams Fail and How to Avoid It, a show helping small business owners build a radically engaged team that can run the business without you so you can remove the stress from owning a business and enjoy the freedom you deserve. Now, here's your host, Rich Allen.
Here's my question for you this week. Are you leading your team or micromanaging your team? It's a question that every business owner should be asking themselves on a regular basis. In fact, it's a question that I think as a business owner, you should be asking your direct reports on a regular basis. I've found that far too many business owners mistake leadership with micromanagement. Rather than focus on the high-level strategies of the business, their time is spent actively engaged and involved in the day-to-day details of the business. And oftentimes, when something seems to be going wrong, their first reaction is to jump up, step in, and help fix whatever the problem is. Have you ever found yourself doing that? I was in a meeting with a business owner just the other day, and I witnessed it happening firsthand. The business owner had several hundred employees in the business, so it wasn't a small business by any means. He had an executive team who managed the business for him, but he was constantly on the lookout for things that he could address and perhaps make better. We were sitting in his main conference room discussing some strategic opportunities for the business. I was facing the wall, but his seat faced the windows where he could see outside into the large parking lot where the semi-tractor trailers carrying his finished goods inventory were staged for delivery. Over the span of a couple hours, I noticed his attention being drawn to the parking lot, and he would intently study the trailers filled with finished goods. I finally couldn't help myself, and I asked what was catching his attention. He excitedly showed me that several of the trailers were not 100% filled. He pointed out where they missed the opportunity to put more finished goods on several of the trailers that were positioned for shipment. He then pulled out his calculator, did some quick math, and declared that the less than full shipments were resulting in a significant amount of missed sales revenue over the course of a year. That's when he made a note to follow up with the shipping manager to make him aware of his error and show him how to maximize each and every trailer. Meanwhile, our progress on the strategic opportunity for his business was stalled and constantly interrupted. My first thought was how that shipping manager was going to feel when the owner showed up to micromanage his packing and shipping technique. Was he going to be inspired to get the help of his boss's boss's boss? Was he going to be enthusiastic to know he was watching each and every trailer that left the building? Was he going to be motivated to improve and show he was capable of managing his own department? Likely, the answer to each of these questions would not only be no, but hell no. Just like the salesperson whose boss listens to each and every recorded sales call and critiques them regularly, or the administrative assistant whose boss checks in on them every 15 minutes or so to make sure they're working on something important. Treating people this way will make them feel disengaged, demoralized, deflated, and resentful. Being micromanaged is never a way to build a high-performance team. I recently asked a business owner why they didn't micromanage, and I found their response not only interesting, but helpful. They said, "If I tried to do everything that needed to be done in the day, I would run out of time. I had to learn not to be a perfectionist, but rather to be confident that others can do things better than I can." Now that sounds like the kind of business owner most people want to work for. I heard it said another way recently. Find the right people, those who are better than you, get out of their way, and let them do their thing. Brilliant. Here's a challenge I'd like to share with you on this idea of not micromanaging. Don't make people earn your trust. Assume you hired only talented, capable adults who can do their assigned jobs. Extend trust to them until they prove they don't deserve it. That's a solid recipe for leading rather than micromanaging. Let me repeat that. Don't make people earn your trust. Assume you hired only talented, capable adults who can do their assigned jobs. Extend trust to them until they prove they don't deserve it. If you struggle with micromanaging, or perhaps you know someone who is a micromanager, let me give you 3 simple ways you can stop it. Number 1, ask people what they need and give them what they need. Your job as the leader is to find out what your people need to make them the most productive, most engaged, and most effective possible in their current role. They may need more communications. If so, give it to them. They may need more training. If so, give it to them. They may need some special tooling or equipment. If so, give it to them. The whole idea of asking your team members what they need to be effective, efficient, and engaged will move them towards owning their job responsibilities faster than anything else you can do. Number 2, find other ways to measure people's performance and their productivity. Don't require that they check in with a video call every day or have a check-in meeting every time that you get together. Avoid the fake set of optics that gives the impression that they're being productive. Work with them to establish the measures and metrics that will prove they're doing a great job. Ask them to track, post, and share their results with you on a regular basis. To be honest, finding unique ways to measure individuals' performance will give you a much better pulse on your business than simply frequently checking in on them as if they were in preschool. And number 3, do not put policies in place that punish your best employees in order to solve the problems caused by your worst performing employees. This may be the hardest one to do, especially if you're a rule follower who believes there must be a rule or policy for everything in your business. Far too often, policies are written when someone breaks what should be known to be a rule or a norm. They're most often not broken by your best team members. Yet when policies are enforced, your best team members are the ones who pay the biggest price, besides yourself and your business results. Make a commitment to avoid broad policies. Use situational leadership instead. Fight hard against demoralizing your best performers, and they will reward you with exceptional results. And lastly, I probably should have listed this one as 3A. Address poor performers directly. Don't look the other way when someone underperforms. Everyone on your team is watching and waiting for you to notice and take action. The longer you delay in addressing poor performance, the more likely the rest of your team will see your lack of action as setting a new, lower standard. Don't let this happen. Demonstrate leadership until and unless someone proves they're required to be closely monitored and individually motivated. Do this, and your best team members will pick up the slack while you find a suitable replacement for the person who either can't or won't step up to your high standards. As we wrap up today's podcast, let me leave you with these simple thoughts on avoiding micromanaging. Number 1, trust your people. Number 2, ask what they need and give it to them. Number 3, put them in conditions that will optimize their performance. And number 4, stay out of their way. If you'd like some additional support in this area or want to tap into our free resources, simply go to my website, www.tourtoprofit.com. You'll find everything you need there. Thanks for joining me today. Be sure to tune in next week when we're going to discuss your talk to listen ratio. You won't want to miss it. Now, go make it a great week, and whatever you do, ride hard.
Thank you for listening to Why Business Teams Fail and How to Avoid It. Make sure to like, subscribe, and tell your friends so you don't ever miss an episode. Now go make it a great week, and whatever you do, ride hard.